Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Wednesday, March 30th, 2016, and here are some of today's trends in the news. Well, if it's the last Wednesday of the month, you know what that is. Trends Monthly. That's right. And what a Trends Monthly this is. You got your Trends Journal recently. You keep getting trend alerts. Every weekday night we do Trends in the News. Now the Trends Monthly that you've been getting, and wait till you look at this one. One story after another. Yes, the one by me, of course, with When Yellen Speaks, Gold Spikes. Great piece by the world-renowned federal bank expert, Nomi Prinz. Woof! No end to cheap money trend. Great stories as well behind Putin's Syria decision, what the anti-Russian rhetoric means, the war on drugs, a miserable failure, and more information on new business starts, sleeping with shrooms. Yeah. Wait, wasn't Ted Cruz accused of sleeping with some? No, it's a different one. Different shrooms. No, not those rooms. No motel rooms. Great information here. The right stuff. One new breaking trend after another. New vision in clean vehicles. Small appliances, what the trend means, where it's going, what's up, what's down, what's hype, what's not. A Trends Monthly like you've never seen before. Our goal is to provide you with history before it happens, keep giving you more and more information that we think is critical to help you avoid the dangers that lie ahead and profit from the opportunities, and it's all in the Trends Monthly, Trends Journal, Trend Alerts, and Trends in the News. And as we move on with Trends in the News, let's take a trip over there to Asia. Well, one day the Shanghai's up, the next day it's down. Today it's up, Nikkei's up, down, beep, bop. So, just a mix of what was the day before, but just in the opposite direction. And for no good reason. But over there in Europe, the markets went up. And over here in the States, the markets went up. And you know why? Because of Yellen speaking yesterday. Yeah, more hope for more stimulus maybe. But hey, we're not going to raise those interest rates. We may, but we may not. And it looks like we won't. Just to be clear about nothing, because she always does, says something that you can't understand, because any intelligent person knows it's just,
oh, come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
That's right. That's all they keep dishing out. But boy, the markets like it. Now the Dow is up over 80, but it was up much more than that, over 150. But it closed up nonetheless. Hey, remember yesterday gold was up over $10? Well, $20, closed down today, $10 less, but still up. And oil, oil was down yesterday. Oil was up today over 3%. It was booming up. Closed flat. Yep, on the news of, same old news, but just told in a different way. Them stockpiles, well, they build, but they didn't build as much as they thought they'd build, but other things didn't happen because they said they were going to happen, and that agreement between the Saudis and OPEC, and just more BS. Again, the markets are moving, gold is moving. Nothing of this has to do with price discovery. It's only a rigged game. Oil inventories spook investors. Yeah, great. Anyway, so West Texas now is back down under 40, as is Mr. Brent. And what do they say about Yellen? People are just trying to gain any kind of insight into the Federal Reserve, said Robert Pavlik, chief market strategist at Boston Private Wealth. But right now, your middle of the lineup and you're a cleanup hitter. Janet Yellen speaking about keeping rates lower, that feeds a risk on trade that keeps the dollar lower and helping commodity prices. I think people are chasing the market, and it's not based on fundamentals, he said. You got it. It's not based on fundamentals, and this thing that you're in the middle of the lineup and a cleanup hitter, let's save that for the little boys that still get off on sports, all right? How about calling it a rigged game? Could anybody say that? No, let's be polite. Yeah. I think people are chasing the market, and it's not based on fundamentals. Period, paragraph. True price discovery is gone. But remember what I said yesterday about those iShares, those MSCI emerging markets ETFs? Up 1% yesterday, up another percent today. Yeah, we'll keep talking about the emerging markets because that's why they have to keep the dollar cheap. Because all this emerging market debt from when the dollar was cheap and all this quantitative easing, zero interest rate policy, that fueled the fake boom. And now commodity prices down, the emerging markets currency sinking, they got to pay back this debt, and if the dollar goes up, interest rates go up, they can't pay it back as it is. They won't be able to pay it back at all when they raise interest rates, if they ever do. So now they're looking at possibly one interest rate hike in the coming year. And here's the reports in the papers today about what Yellen yelled out yesterday. Saying Fed sees better days ahead, Yellen sees patient course on rates. Yep. Again, about nothing. Stocks jumped and bond yields fell in the moments after the publication of Mrs. Yellen remarks. But they didn't mention gold. It's okay. Yellen remarks move markets to year's highest point. Yep. Yellen's remarks. No fundamentals of the economy. We're going to keep that cocaine and heroin addiction, that money junkie addiction going. End of story. Yellen defends cautious role on rates. This is the Wall Street Journal. The key, she said, is that global economic and financial backdrop looms more threateningly now than before. And even though officials expect U.S. economy to weather any further rough patches, the dangers can't be ignored. Quote, the major thing that changed between December and March that affects the baseline outlook is slightly weaker projected pace of global growth, she said. Global developments pose ongoing risks. Well, no kidding. But just to put things into perspective, they couldn't see this coming in December. Guess what? According to the Fed minutes, they couldn't even see it last month. Here we go. Going back to what we had reported in Trends in the News back on Tuesday, February 18th. At meeting, Fed showed uncertainty on outlook. That's right, uncertainty on outlook. You got freaks and fools, losers and liars running the Central Bank of USA. Yeah, go back to the minutes. After they hold them back for 5 years, you see they didn't know what was going on in 2008. And now we have the Fed minutes over here that I will read to you that verify they don't know what they're doing, folks. Federal Reserve officials threw up their hands in January, deciding that they could not decide whether market turmoil would impede domestic economic growth. The Fed in recent years has issued an assessment of its economic outlook after each meeting of its policy-making committee. But That assessment was missing from the statement after the most recent meeting in January. An official account published on Wednesday after a standard 3-week delay makes clear the Fed officials simply did not know what to say. This is from the toilet paper saying this. Oh, better known as the New York Times, the sellers of war and hate. Yeah, you remember that? Aluminum tubes that, what's his name? Bush said that Hussein. That's right. Hussein I think is his middle name, right? Yeah. No, the other Hussein, Saddam Hussein. Yeah, them aluminum tubes and yellow cakes that the New York Times took us to war on. Even they're printing this. Anyway, quote, this is from those minutes. Most policymakers thought that the extent of which tighter conditions would persist and what that might imply for the outlook was unclear. Now, could you imagine hiring somebody to do your job and they're this damn stupid as the world economy with all the data showing it's in a decline? But hey, boy, did they applaud Yellen after her speech. Okay, I will continue here. And they therefore judged it was premature to alter appreciably their assessment of the medium-term economic outlook, the meeting account said. So, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. That's why they babble and seem like they're babbling like fools. Yes, they are fools, but that foolish babble is to make it pretend like they know what they're talking about. So, capital flows to emerging markets surged to 21-month highs. Again, they need to keep the interest rates down so the emerging markets don't collapse. Again, look at the data, look at the facts, listen to what they say. Who would hire anybody to be such a failure? You'd fire them. You're fired, yeah. But they do the same crap in government. You got one losing, lying freak. Look at the military. Look at the failures. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, bow down, salute. I salute all of you. A bunch of losers. Environment, education. Central banks, one failure after another by their words and by their deeds. Don't forget to vote. Vote for a lesser of two evils. Let's keep stupid going. And I'll continue here. Asian development economies, once home to double-digit growth rates, will see momentum stall over the next 2 years, according to the Asian Development Bank. Yeah, but the Fed says we don't know what's happening. We're going to have a meeting to discuss the variables of different logarithms that dissect with different multipliers, plus a subtraction of additional steps not seen and forecasted, but thought of, but not understood. Yep. Here's how stupid they report things. This is the Wall Street Journal. Yen finally weakening versus other havens. Great! The yen is finally weakening. That's good news, you Japanese. Here. In his continuing battle with the yen, the Bank of Japan finally seems to be getting some good news. As investors pull money out of Japanese assets there are signs that the currency is weakening for good. Isn't that great? Your currency goes down, it costs you more to buy everything. Oh no, but we'll be able to export more. No, you won't. There's a global slowdown. Global trade is down nearly 14%. It gets better. Since the central bank induced negative interest rates in Japan, investors have reduced exposure to Japanese securities by $617 billion, government figures showed on Friday. Isn't that great? It's working perfectly. And what else do we have here? Speaking about China, profits rise 10% at Smithfield Foods. Yep. Bucking a trend for a year during which The sector struggled with a sharp increase in U.S. hog supplies that pressure pork prices. But the Smithfield went up. I mentioned that because they're owned by the Chinese. Yeah, Smithfield. We have to change that name. Yeah. What else do we have here? Boeing has announced it will cut 4,000 jobs. Great peddling fiction. That's what they're doing. Obama says the economy's strong. Rehire those people, Boeing. You're peddling fiction. You could pay for them. So what? Maybe they'll find a job at Walmart. No, we're going to get the job numbers on Friday. There'll be growth in waiters, bartenders, waitresses, hospitality sector. Another Miami condo bust looms. Sales are down some 20%. Not only there, remember I've been reporting what's going on in New York, what's going on in London, what's going on in LA, San Francisco. The luxury markets are all going down. Hey, but the Fed is too stupid to read that? Maybe condo is too big a word for Yellen. Yep. Here we go. In the fourth quarter of 2015, the number of Miami Beach condo transactions declined nearly 20%. So you keep one piece of lousy news after another. The economy stinks. And on to the world front. Not a lot has changed over there. Just a little report I want to read to put things into perspective. Children in Yemen paying the highest price for war, UN says. At least 6 children have been killed or maimed in the fighting every day for the past year. But these 6 children don't count as much as 1 child being murdered in America. Could you imagine a foreign force coming in here and killing 6 children? And they go on to say that that's the tip of the iceberg because the number represents only the cases that have been verified. Much more murder. The World Health Organization said 6,200 people have been killed, over 30,000 wounded. UNICEF reported that at least 934 children had been killed in the conflict, 61% of them in airstrikes. Yes, airstrikes with the bomb support given to the Saudis or sold to by the United States. Airstrikes with intelligence and reconnaissance coming from the United States. Airstrikes with refueling of the airplanes done by the United States. Again, if you give a murderer the weapons to murder and you know they're going to murder, are you an accomplice to murder? Obama? Clinton? All you members of Congress and all you Americans that want more war. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's Trends in the News.